it's just bedtime for probably all of us, depending on how early or late you decide to go to bed. So it's a good time to start turning inwards and staying away from, and I'm not really good at following this advice myself, staying away from our electronic devices and seeing what's going on in the world. So this is a good kind of practice for us to go inwards and to start that process of sort of settling down and getting ourselves ready to go to sleep. So have your feet flat on the floor, about a hip's width apart, and be sitting on top of your sits bones, your shoulders aligned with the hips. And just imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. So just imagine you're lengthening, lengthening, lengthening. And just bring your awareness to the crown of the head now and just allow yourself to relax from the top of the skull all the way down. The face, the neck, the throat, the back, your belly, and then all your limbs. Just kind of release any tension that you might be experiencing. And take a nice deep breath. It's almost like we have to take ourselves by the hand and get ourselves ready for bed. You know, like when we have children, or like our parents did for us when we were kids. So just going inside, we're just going to have a little look inside. We're shining a torch around in there. If you notice any sounds in your environment, even our environment here, for those of you that can hear the crickets, just allow those sounds to be there, trying not to follow them with the mind. Just acknowledge the sweetness of the sound, if you can hear the crickets. Remembering, notice the thoughts that are arising. And maybe notice, you know, if you can't categorize, you can just start by saying, I'm thinking. And you're putting some space in between the thoughts by categorizing them. You want to have a look and see what's actually going on inside that mind of ours. Because once you know what's there, there's something you can do about it. And then think of all the people of your life. So the ones you love, your best friends, these dear people that we have in our life that just kind of support us, take care of us, the ones we can chat to when we have something going on. And there's the ones we try and stay away from, and then our strangers. And just remember they can all change place at any time, these relationships. And then think, they're all equal. Despite the way we think about the stranger versus the one we love, they're all equal in their wish to be happy and their wish to be free from suffering and having this extraordinary capacity for Buddhahood. So I think we'll do this meditation this evening for all these people of our life, and by extension, all sentient beings. And just, I guess, because I'm in California and I'm close to Hawaii and I've been there and found it extremely beneficial, it really touched my heart. And I just really feel for what's happening over there. All the people who are lost, all the animals who are, displaced. So just send light and love that direction. And of course, anything else you can think of. There's many things going on in the world. There's a lot happening that we can draw to help us develop compassion. So I think there is no negativity that cannot be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind, so we can equally create positivity instead. So we start with this is the four opponent powers in the context of this Vajrasattva, this Buddha. Vajrasattva, this purification Buddha, white Buddha. And we start with the power of regret. Regret now is not guilt. Regret is as taking a sense of responsibility, accepting that we've done something that might have harmed ourselves or others. And in it is implied this idea of a determination to do something differently next time. So start like this. I sincerely regret from the depths of my heart anything I have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. We cannot bear the thought of the future suffering that we ourselves will experience. We know from our present suffering we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this. I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret our delusions, our anger, our attachment, and all the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, okay, so what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the Buddha Vajrasattva, who rather than seeing as a higher power or a God that's going to fix things or change things or make us or whatever, see him like a doctor who has the methods that we can use to purify. So it just takes all this kind of, heavy, this kind of being controlled by another being kind of thing away from us. We're doing the work ourselves. We're just using the techniques, the methods that have been provided to us and to Buddha's practitioners in this tradition for, over 1,000, 2,000 years. So tried and true. And so it's nothing that somebody made up recently. These practices work. So we're not wanting Buddha to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon the medicine, the methods. So imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is your teacher, if you have one, manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of radiant, blissful white light, radiating light and made of light. So if you can imagine a hologram, but then much, much, much brighter than that and radiating light out. And he's sitting cross-legged on a white lotus on a moon cushion. Has this beautiful face that's radiant and lotus-like eyes. And these eyes are peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. And he has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these. This symbolizes enlightenment, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So here we come to this little section on developing compassion. So we need other beings in order to develop compassion. We need other beings that we see are suffering and we just wish for them to be free from suffering. So if anybody has been through some kind of disaster, maybe don't even need to go through some kind of disaster like they've been through in Lahaina. But just to see what's been going on and hearing and reading what's been going on, it's just enough to go, just may those people be free from suffering as soon as possible. That's compassion. And then remember, so think about someone you've harmed and someone who's harmed you. Wish for the people you've harmed to be free from suffering, and wish for the person who's harmed you to be free from suffering, particularly because the harm they've caused you is going to just manifest for them as suffering sometime down the line. And then now we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the medicine where we do the practice. We visualize and we recite mantra. Mantra, by the way, means mind protection, to protect the mind. And it being done in Sanskrit, this language has an energy of its own. That's quite an extraordinary language. So there's something quite powerful in reciting that language. It impacts the body on an energetic level, the mind on an energetic level. And the translation is very, very long. So this is why we do it this way. So imagine Vajrasattva with the purification of the body, very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of all of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Am Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Am Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Am Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Am Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Am Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything now other than benefit others with the body. So the moment they see you, feel your presence, it benefits their mind. And the next is the purification of the speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, which overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you can imagine that all the gossip, harsh speech, useless speech, lying, talking badly about others behind their backs, getting other people to agree with you, inappropriate speech, not knowing what to say at the right time. You know how we blurt out stuff sometimes. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling us as we recite the mantra. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasedi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasedi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasedi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasedi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasedi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasedi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasedi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe. Again, feel so happy that now your speech is purified. And imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others with your speech. So part of this is knowing exactly what to say at the right time that benefits somebody's mind. No matter what situation you're in, whether you're at work or with your family or with your best friend, out in the street with a stranger, on public transport with a stranger. And next is the purification of the mind. And Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So the same as when you walk into a room, you flick on that switch. Imagine the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, and all the darkness of the negativity of your mind is instantly dispelled upon contact with the light. So all the negativities of the mind, your attachment, depression, anger, bitterness, grudges, jealousy, disappointments, resentment, all of this instantly dispelled. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sudokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasedi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sudokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anaraktameboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe. So now again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified and they're finished. And now there's no space in your heart for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So now we purify just even the subtlest imprints of negative energy. And just imagine Vajrasattva sending light and nectar, filling you completely and just eradicating all of this subtle negative energy. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata ahompe. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dinapatita tira meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mempiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata ahompe. So feel completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to the power of resolve. And this is the fourth step in the purification process. And it's a really crucial one, this decision we need to make in order to refrain from harming, to not harm with our body and our speech and our mind. And without making a decision to not harm, we're never going to do it. We'll keep just on with the same old habits that we have all the time, not really bothering whether they hurt anyone else or not. So we have to decide. We have to start working on it because we are human, and a lot of our actions are habitual, and some of it comes from previous lifetimes. So this determination to not do again gives us strength to change. And now imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with us, wanting to merge with your mind, who melts into light and absorbs into you through your crown. And think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So we just think a little bit now about emptiness. Think there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, just place your mind there for a moment. You can think of all phenomena as being dependently arising. They don't exist from their own side. They're not concrete. And then you can think that perhaps the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy we've created this evening to all living beings, particularly those ones we mentioned at the beginning, all the beings suffering in Maui, then any beings in this world suffering from fire. There's so many things I could mention, but we'll just stay with that for now. And anybody in your mind, just think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And then if any of you have His Holiness as a teacher, just wish for him to have a long life, and then also the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And for any of you who have your own teachers, just pray for them to have long lives. Okay, everybody, lots of love. I see some